Six Flags America, a park often receiving a lot of hate from not only the coaster community, but also from the general public, and even from their own parent company, Six Flags. Six Flags America seems to be rather neglected compared to other parks in the Six Flags chain, which led me to a very interesting observation about the park, in that Six Flags America doesn't really have any original coasters. Now, what exactly do I mean by original? Quick look at Webster's dictionary. It defines original as constituting as an origin or beginning, not imitative or imitated. So for this video, we're going to take a look at each coaster at Six Flags America, past coasters that are no longer around, and their current coasters too. And I'm going to set two requirements for each coaster to be original. The first requirement being that the coaster was not relocated to Six Flags America, that the coaster was built originally at Six Flags America and it has stayed there for its entire life. The second requirement is going to be that the coaster is not a clone model, meaning that there are no other coasters like it at any of the parks that are copies of that coaster. Now, before we go diving into this video, I just want to point out that I actually enjoy this park a lot. The purpose of this video is not to bash Six Flags America in any way, shape, or form. I'm just looking into an observation that I personally realized myself recently and just wanted to look into it and see if this observation is true or not. As I said before, this park gets a lot of hate, and honestly, I don't really understand all the hate behind this park. My visit to Six Flags America in 2020 was honestly a very pleasant park day. All the rides were operating, the park is pretty clean and tidy and well kept. Operations were a little bit slow, but by no means the worst operations I've ever seen in my life. And overall, I just had a very fun day at the park. If you haven't seen my vlog from that park day, I'll put it in the upper right hand corner. Make sure you check that out. Now! Alright, let's start with some of the rides that are no longer operating at the park, some defunct coasters. Let's start with a coaster that was called Python. This was an aero shuttle loop coaster. Originally, this coaster operated at Six Flags Great Adventure as one of the tracks on lightning loops. This operated at Great Adventure from 1978 to 1992. However, this attraction was relocated to Six Flags America in 1993, where it operated at the park until 1998. So let's take a look at our requirements for being original for this video. This was an aero shuttle loop coaster. There are plenty of these made throughout the world, so it is a clone, so no check there. And this was relocated to Six Flags America, so also no check. So this was not an original coaster. Up next is Two-Face, and this was a Vekoma inverted boomerang. This did open originally at Six Flags America. It operated at the park from 1999 to 2007. However, it was relocated afterwards. And I think we all know that Vekoma inverted boomerangs are clones, and this wasn't the first of its kind either, so no check for not being a clone. And while it did originally open at Six Flags America, it did end up getting relocated, but I'll give it the check anyway since it did originally open at the park. However, that doesn't save this ride from not being original, because it is a clone, so this was not an original coaster. The last defunct coaster was a kiddie coaster called the Great Alonzo's Cannonball Coaster. This was a Molina & Sons kiddie coaster. It did originally open at Six Flags America, and it had a very short lifespan, only operating from 1993 to 1998. So it was not a relocated coaster, so we get a check mark there. However, many of these were made throughout the world, so it is a clone, not original. Alright, onto the coasters that are currently still operating at the park. Let's start with the oldest coaster at the park, Wild One. This coaster originally opened at a park called Paragon Park in Hull, Massachusetts. The park operated from 1905 to 1985. When the Wild One was at Paragon Park, it was named Giant Coaster. Original name, right? How original. This coaster first opened in 1917. And at the time, it was the tallest coaster in the world, and it held that record until 1925. In 1932, a portion of this coaster actually was destroyed in a fire, and in 1963, another fire destroyed part of the ride. So this ride has seen 2 fires, and it's been relocated. And it's over 100 years old, too. So as I said before, this is not a clone, so we can get a check mark there. However, it was relocated, so I can't give it a check there. So this is not an original coaster. Up next is Batwing, and this is a Vekoma Flying Dutchman model. This opened at Six Flags America in 2001. It was the second of its kind. So this did originally open at Six Flags America, so I can give it a check there. However, it is a clone, so I can't give a check there. Not an original coaster. Up next is Great Chase. This is just a Zamperla family kiddie coaster. It opened originally at Six Flags America in 1999. Zamperla has made many of these things, so it is a clone. So while it was not relocated, it is a clone, not original. Up next is Raging Cajun. This is a river-shun spinning wild mouse coaster. It originally opened at Six Flags Great America under the same name, Raging Cajun. It operated there from 2004 to 2013. Then it was moved to Six Flags America and opened in 2014. So it was relocated, so no check mark there. And this is a clone as well. Many of these are throughout the world. So no check mark there, not an original coaster. Up next is Mind Eraser. This is a Vekoma SLC, or Suspended Looping Coaster. This did originally open at Six Flags America in 1995. It's an SLC. As we all know, you can find these all over the place, so this is definitely a clone. So we can get a check mark for not being relocated, but it is a clone, not original. Let's go over to Joker's Jinx next. This is a Premier's Ride LAM launch coaster, or as we like to call it, a spaghetti bowl, because look at it. This did originally open at Six Flags America in 1999. This coaster is a cloned model. The first of its kind opened at Kings Island and Kings Dominion as Flight of Fear at both parks in 1996. And there's a small handful of these throughout the world after Joker's Jinx opened too. So the ride was not relocated, check mark there, but it is a clone, not original. Let's fly on over to Firebird next. And this ride originally opened at Six Flags Great America as Iron Wolf in 1990. This was also B&M's very first coaster. It operated at Great Adventure until 2011, and was moved to the Six Flags America and opened in 2012 as Apocalypse. It did still remain as a standing coaster at that time. In 2019, Apocalypse was converted to a floorless coaster and renamed and repainted to Firebird. B&M made a few other coasters that were very similar, if not identical clones to this. So this is a clone, no check mark. And this was relocated, no check mark, not an original coaster. Up next is Superman Ride of Steel. This is an Intamin Mega Coaster, also a hyper coaster. This did originally open at Six Flags America in 2000. This is a mirrored version of Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags Darien Lake. And even though it's a mirrored copy of it, I still consider that a clone. So we can get a check mark for not being relocated, but I can't give it a check mark for not being a clone, so this is not an original coaster. And the last coaster on our list is Roar, and this just might be the saving grace for this park for originality. So this did originally open at Six Flags America in 1998, so we can give it a check mark there for not being relocated. However, in 1999, a year later, a near clone was made of this coaster at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. There were very subtle differences between the two of these coasters, but the layout for both of these coasters were nearly identical after the lift hill. So were these two rides clones? Yes, they were. No check mark. Not original. Or is it? The key word here is were. Roar at Discovery Kingdom closed in 2015 and reopened in 2016 as The Joker. It reopened as an RMC iBox conversion. So where does that leave Roar at Six Flags America? Is it still really a clone since its clone version is no longer the way that it used to be? Before I say my thoughts on this, pause the video real quick and comment down below what your thoughts are. Do you think Roar at Six Flags America is still a clone coaster or not? Comment down below. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to go ahead and say that Roar at Six Flags America is no longer a clone, so I will give it the check mark, not a clone, which makes this coaster an original coaster. And our final results for Six Flags America's coaster's originality. Six Flags America. So maybe they don't have a very original coaster lineup. Does this make Six Flags America a bad park? Absolutely not. Just because a ride may be a clone, or it may be a relocated attraction, does not make that a bad ride. Rides like these can still be great coasters. If anything, it just shows that the parent company, Six Flags, just for whatever reason is not willing to invest too much into this property, in which I don't really understand why. Because this park has a lot of potential. Baltimore, Washington DC, Richmond, all major cities very close to Six Flags America, with millions of guests that they could possibly market to. I just hope in the near future that Six Flags will invest more into this property because there is so much potential to be had at this location. If you've never been to Six Flags America, I highly encourage that you do. Don't pay any attention to any negative rumors or any bad reputation that you may have heard from the park. Don't let that stop you from visiting the park. Give the park a chance. Go experience it for yourself and form your own opinion. My visit in 2020 was great. I had an amazing time at Six Flags America last year, and I do plan to go back to the park a few times for the 2021 season. No originality? No problem in my eyes. Six Flags America is still a great park and has a lot to offer, and if you don't believe me, go see for yourself. I'm the Ride Guy, and I'll catch you all in the next loop.